All right, we are live. What's up, guys? So today we want to go through some data that has been released that Alberto has explaining how many people actually come to this region of Mexico. Every week, this is a specific week of September 26th. I think it's September 26th or September 18th to the 26th. And we're going to dive deep in why this area is growing, how many people are actually coming here, how there's a recession in the United States, but it hasn't stopped people from traveling. And so we're going to go through this. There's a bunch of different sections, and Alberto's going to share his screen, and this is going to be a pretty cool data-driven podcast episode, so that you guys can actually see what these numbers are from the state of Quintana Roo. It is in Spanish, but we'll go ahead and translate it for you. So go ahead, bro.
Well, good morning. Good morning. How you doing, Nick? Well, first of all, I want to ask, where are you and what are you doing, Nick?
I am in the middle of nowhere, Mexico, in a place called Bahia de Los Angeles. One of the first places I came to on my journey to Argentina in my car before I decided to live full-time in Playa. I have a really close friend of mine, Leah and Nate, who I've been friends with a long time, scuba dive with. She's the reason why I live in Mexico. And this hotel that I'm at was the spot that we came scuba diving. And just a few weeks ago, there was a huge hurricane and wiped out a lot of the hotel. I mean, one of the rooms completely lost their entire side with all the bricks ripped out. And it wasn't really the hurricane that did it. In the mountains behind us, there was so much rain that it collected, and the water created a huge river and just came through and ripped out everything on its way back out into the ocean. So I raised about $3,000, and she raised about 3,000, maybe 3,800, and we drove from Tijuana. Me and my girlfriend went to Home Depot, bought drills, extension cords, brooms, leaf blowers, compressors, tools to help them rebuild this. We built a palapa yesterday for us to hang out on the hammocks, and it was kind of a way to give back. I think that doing this type of thing, these people took care of me 2 times now, my 3rd time here, and decided to fly to Tijuana and drive here. It took me 2 days to get here. We're here. Wow. And raised a bunch of money, and helping this family out to get their hotel back on track so that they can have more scuba divers come. This area is a magical place. At nighttime, you can see the galaxy, like
the Milky Way.
You can see
awesome.
the Milky Way.
That's
and
awesome.
They're shooting stars, and then you can sit in the water, and there's bioluminescent phytoplankton.
Wow.
It's pretty magical. So today we'll go scuba diving. We'll probably see whale sharks, fin whales. They have blue whales here. They have sharks. They have manta rays that are enormous. This is, if you ever read Steinbach's book, The Sea of Cortez, he writes about it. It's a boring book, but it's a great book. And this is the aquarium of the world. And it's just a magical, magical place. So we get back. If anybody does want to donate, there's a lot of work to do. I'll leave a link in the description below if anyone wants to donate, so that we can get more supplies. There's nothing down here. There's maybe a town of 500 people, although Carlos Slim does have a yacht that's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, he comes down here, him and his wife, because it's so remote. It's just very peaceful.
There's nothing slim about Slim, huh?
Yeah.
His wallet or his weight.
Yeah.
Hey, so prove it. Some people think that's like a backdrop, like a A screenshot. So show me you're really there, not some kind of like a picture you have.
So this is the spot, those mountains over there.
Uh-huh.
There's sometimes like a storm and it'll be lightning over there. And then here is the hotel,
Oh, super cool, man. Look at that.
you know,
Wow, bro.
it's pretty cool.
That's super cool. Okay. You've proved it. I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if you told me you were going over there, and I was like, it's the same picture I saw yesterday with that
Yeah.
same little palapa there. Like, show me. No, I'm kidding. I remember yesterday in our Zoom yesterday, you were like, give me a second, I'm listening. And you like run away to the distance. And I was like, how the hell is he listening, dude? It's like you're like 100 yards away from the camera. All right. So you guys can see my screen, right? You can see my screen.
Yep, I can see it.
All right. So this is from we're a part of a group here in Mexico, here in Quintana Roo, Muller Properties, so inclusive Nick and myself. It's called Coparmex, right? Coparmex is an association of businesses, entrepreneurs here in the region. You have restaurant owners, you have hotel owners, small hotels, large hotels, the president of urbanization and development for Playa del Carmen, for Tulum. I mean, all the big boys who make decisions. You know, I'm not a big boy. Nick and I are just there to get the information, but they share a lot of very valuable information. You know, there's a lot of stuff going around right now that it's low season, right? And I've had this debate with many people. People actually send me very hateful comments in my Instagram saying, "Do you live here? Do you see low season?" And I'm like, I'm on Fifth Avenue right now. Nick and I were down there on the 15th of September and celebrating, you know, Independence Day for Mexico. And on Fifth Avenue, there must have been within an hour, I don't know, Nick, what, 20,000 people that we saw walk by. I mean,
Yeah,
it was insane. It was insane. I mean, I know it was 4th of July. I mean, 4th of July. I know it's September 15th. I mean, quote unquote, Independence Day, right? So obviously there'll be more people down here on vacation, but it wasn't just Mexicans walking up and down Fifth Avenue, and it's packed all the time. So people were asking, but why are we feeling like it's low season? Well, in this right here, we're gonna share with you right now. I'm going to explain to you. This is for the week of September. What week is this for? Hold on a second. This is September 16th to September 22nd. That week of September. Okay. And we're going to talk about occupation in the hotels. We're going to talk about what type of tourists are coming down, what kind of markets are being attacked, or what kind of markets are here on vacation, cruises, cruise ships, the cruise ship calendars, airport, like how many flights have flown into Cancun, how many flights are flying into Cozumel, how many flights are flying into Chetumal, and then showing the infrastructure, you know, a little bit of the hotels, and then we're going to talk about the vacation rentals. Why is this important, this information? This is how you should be making. I know everybody uses like AirDNA and to get their information, and some of these stats in this presentation, they did use AirDNA to show, which is for like the rental properties and stuff like that. But it needs to be, I think there's two key factors. Well, maybe there's three key factors, right? And when you're investing in a property, first is affordability, right? What can I afford to get, right? And then once you figure out what you can get, if you want to do it from a non-emotional side, okay, I'll give you two angles of this. First, you have to find out what you can afford, what you like, and then location, right? That would be like the logical way of doing it if you have based on logic and finances. If you do it the emotional side, what you're going to do is you're going to find out what you like first, fall in love with it, and then find out how you can pay for it. Right. So that's like the emotional aspect or emotional side of purchasing something. And sometimes, or in most cases, you're going to end up doing things that you want to do more than what you need to do. Right. So when you fall in love with the destination or fall in love with the place you want to invest in, you'll do whatever it takes to get that property. And sometimes the emotional takes over and not the logical. And sometimes you make a bad choice. So this is the type of information you're going to be getting right now. This is the kind of stuff you should get research on, whether you contact Nick or read his book or go through his course, or you contact Muller Properties and we do a one-on-one together and we do analysis like this with you and share information with you, or just contact your broker, you know, your local agent you have in this region, if you're already working with somebody, and ask them to share this kind of information with you. Okay. So let's look at occupancies, right? Hotel occupancies first. What is this? Why is this important to me? I'm trying to buy a condo. Why do I care about the hotel occupancy? Well, without the hotels having occupancy, that's a huge catalyst for the tourism down here, right? Because most people, what they'll do is they'll go on vacation to a destination and they'll feel safer staying in a hotel first and then exploring the destination while they have a home base, right? Because the hotel's usually like a compound. They're staying there, they're living there, they're enjoying the all-inclusive, or maybe it's not an all-inclusive, but then they can explore the surrounding areas to see if they like the area. And then what they're going to end up doing, the next time they come down, they might not want to stay in a hotel. They're going to want to stay in an Airbnb and start getting more local, right? So it's a necessary evil to have the big hotels. It's actually a plus to have these massive hotels around us here because they're bringing tourism. And then when they get here on their first visit, they're like, this place is beautiful. I love it. How do I get involved? How can we come back? Or they start daydreaming. They're drinking their margaritas.
It's Cancun's lead magnet.
Yeah, seriously. No BS, huh? I mean, people are sitting on the beach drinking margaritas saying, man, wouldn't it be cool to buy something down here, babe? Yeah, it would be really cool. And what happens? We have a new person to talk to, right? Because the dream is there. So let's talk about occupancies for the week of September 16th to the 22nd of September. Right up here is the dates, okay?
Or even before that is like, they might not even want to buy something. They might want to just come and visit, like, this is cool. I wonder what it's like outside of this area.
Exactly.
I wonder what it's like, if Cancun is like this, what's this place, Puerto Morelos, or what's this place, Tulum like? And so then they get on Airbnb, they start looking, and they're like, all right, well, let's come back down here with our friends.
Yep. Quick story. Check this out. So this is kind of like what you're talking about right now. A buddy of mine went to go see, you follow the Formula One at all?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. All right. There was, I think a couple of years ago, there was a Formula One in, I want to say Singapore.
Okay.
Or something like that. I can't remember where it was. It was somewhere in Asia, right? It was a big deal. A buddy of mine went over there and he had the backstage passes. He was super happy getting back there. And he went upstairs to the VIP room with all the Asians and Indian guys, like multi-billionaire, millionaire guys. I don't know how he even got in there, but he was in this VIP room hanging out with these people. And he brought in a bottle of tequila with him. Like he's a buddy of mine. He's Mexican, and he snuck in a bottle of tequila into a bar, a nice fritzy, upper scale bar up in this. And I think pretty sure it was Singapore. And he walks in, and he starts talking and chatting to people, and they say, "Where are you from?" He's like, "Well, I'm from Mexico." They're like, "Mexico? Okay. You mean Tulum?" He's like, "What do you mean Tulum? No, I'm from Mexico. I'm from Monterrey." And they're like, "We don't know what Monterrey is, but we know Tulum." And these are Asians saying, talk about branding, dude. Talk about a benchmark, huh? Talk about the fact that in other parts of the world, Cancun has now been replaced with the notoriety with Tulum. So it now, like, Mexico notoriety now is coming from the Tulum name. The benchmark of Tulum is now how people recognize Mexico across the globe. It's unbelievable. It's a testament to what you're talking about right now. And before, it was Cancun. You talk 20 years ago, say 30 years ago, it was Cancun was that place. I mean, I went to Cancun on spring break in 1993, dude. 1994, I came to Cancun on spring break. Or was it 91? Man, it was too long ago. But it was the first time when MTV first went to Cancun with Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, like all these.
Yeah.
They had a big MTV Cancun Spring Break edition down here. So, anyways,
Well, and supposedly they're supposed to be building a F1 racetrack in this area.
In Puerto Venturas.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. That's what I heard. I don't know how true it is, but
Yeah,
it seems to be. It seems to be getting kind of, I mean, it's always a rumor mill, then it becomes true down here. It's never the other way around. So let's talk about occupancy. So hotel occupancies for the week of the 16th of September to the 22nd of September. So all in all, there was 61.5% average occupancy in the hotels in the Riviera Maya. What does the Riviera Maya consist of? Isla Mujeres, Costa Mujeres, Cancun. I'm going to say it's like a Mexican. I can't say it like an American. Isla Mujeres, Costa Mujeres, Cancun, Puerto Morelos, Riviera Maya, which would be Puerto Morelos down, right? So it includes Playa del Carmen and Tulum. Riviera Maya, Tulum, Cozumel, and Gran Costa Maya. So these are your averages. So your most populated places was Tulum at 72% occupancy. that week in Tulum in the hotel, and talk about the hotels. And there's only a few hotels in Tulum right now that we're talking about registering, right? It's probably the Dreams Tulum and probably what's the other big hotel down there in Tulum?
Marcelo,
The Barcelo Maya? No, it's not far enough south. It's got to
Syrian,
be
Syrian.
Dreams, Sirena. It could be that too. That could be counted in there. But 72%, which is good. Playa del Carmen was at 61.4%. So Cancun's at 65. So look at that. Tulum had more population, more occupancy, I'm sorry, than the other big brands, that we had down here, the famous Cancun, the famous Playa del Carmen. It's an interesting statistic to think about because the benchmark of Tulum is now reaching throughout low season. You're getting people coming down here and staying in Tulum in the hotels, maybe not through Airbnb, which is okay. All right. So go to the next page here. Let me clear these out. Hold on. There we go. Okay. So where are the tourists coming from? In the week from the 16th to the 22nd of September, what countries are the tourists coming from? Well, out of that number, out of this, what was that, the previous number? Out of this number here, out of 61.5% occupancy, 38% of those were Americans. In Mexican nationals, which has actually been a very big surprise this year.
Out of a total of almost 400,000 people.
Yeah, I haven't gotten there yet. Right down here. Yep, right here. Hold on. So just that week, the week from the 16th to the 22nd of September, there was almost 400,000 tourists arrived into the Cancun airport, or arrived to this region of Mexico, Quintana Roo, because the airports will be split up in a second because you have airports in 3 different destinations for now, soon to be the Tulum airport, right? So out of that occupancy, we had 38% were Americans, 35%, 0.16 were Mexicans. Why is this a significant number? Because Mexico is becoming, and Nick talks about this in his book. If you haven't read his book, you got to read his book. It's super good. He talks about this in his book, how Mexico is becoming, it's an emerging commerce, like really, really straight up nearshoring, the BRICS, the peso getting stronger, industry, manufacturing, all that kind of stuff is having a huge impact in Mexico's wealth. And it's also helping the tourism down here. So it all in all, it's becoming more world known as a place to go on vacation. It's closer than going overseas. It's closer than going to other places, and it's a lot less expensive. There's some statistics. Again, I'm going to keep on saying Nick's book, but there's some stats that Nick has in his book. I think it says like 60-something% less expensive to live, in Mexico. I said in Mexico. I didn't say Playa del Carmen. I didn't say Tulum. I said in Mexico, because people start arguing, saying, no, it's super expensive to live in Playa. And you're right. It is actually, it's not as inexpensive in Playa as just other parts of Mexico, but we're talking about Mexico and all right now. Okay. So people coming down here, it's a big deal. The commerce down here is a big deal. Mexico is becoming an amazing place. With that being said, that's leading to Latin or Mexican nationals are now traveling more. As a matter of fact, side note for you guys to a cool statistic. If you haven't heard of Puerto Cancun, I'm sure if Gerardo gets a hold of this video and makes a video for us, he'll show you a picture of it. If you haven't heard of Puerto Cancun is basically like a Miami marina in Cancun. It's an upscale, super ritzy fritzy. The condos start at like $1 million, $980,000. They're beautiful, beautiful. I mean, they're amazing. I love the location. 80 to 90% of those $1 million condos have all been bought by Mexican nationals. So that's another key trait. It's not Americans, not Canadians, not Asian, not Filipino. None of those people are buying this. It's actually Mexican nationals that are buying these condos in Puerto Cancun, which is an amazing statistic showing you that the wealth in Mexico is getting better. So 65% occupancies. You've got Canada's 8%. So Canadians aren't traveling right now, but we all know what's happening in Canada right now. There's some really nasty stuff happening in Canada with their taxes and their and inflation, and then the mortgages. I mean, it's chaos, dude, up there. Yeah. I mean, do you need more details about that, Nick, or no? Have you read anything about it? What's going on up there?
Well, the government's trying to put in effect these 15-minute cities, so you can't travel 15 minutes away, or you're going to be taxed. They're starting to do that in some places.
I did read, I don't know if this is true or not, I have to look it up, that this guy Trudeau removed the construction tax if you build condos not for Airbnb, but condos for people to live, he's actually taken away the tax that it would charge for that construction, which is like a big deal. What they're trying to do is they're trying to get more viviendas, more homes, people to live in.
Yeah.
Canada did get affected big time. I'm going to talk a little bit negative about Airbnb for a split second. I know it's our livelihood, but Canada, these big cities in Canada were destroyed by Airbnb. I mean, if you look at and it's basically developers, they were building to sell to foreigners and they were buying them up, dude. They were making millions and millions and millions of dollars, but now it's unaffordable. You can't live you can't buy a condo in downtown. You'll get, 850 square feet for like $750,000 or something stupid like that, something crazy, so that was, if you want to talk about gentrification, that's literally the definition of what was happening there. Where people weren't able to live in the city because it was getting too expensive because of foreign investors buying it to do rent on Airbnb. So the business model works, but in this case, it was actually affecting Canada in a negative way. So he's now trying to impulse developers to start building condos for people to live in, not just to resell to foreigners, which is it's a good thing. Anyhow, and I'm not backing up Trudeau, by the way. I'm not a politician. I'm not saying, hey, go Trudeau. I don't at all. I won't even tell you who I like in the States. You guys will probably hang up on me. So Colombia, 2% comes from Colombia. United Kingdom, UK, only a little bit over 2%. And then Argentina, 1%, France, 1%. And it gets smaller and smaller and kind of, and then other mercados, basically other countries, I guess it makes the list.
Yeah.
They're not important enough or something. I don't know. Now I'm sure it was because it was like the number was too small. Okay. So this is a big number. Imagine that 400,000 people arrived to the airports in Quintana Roo just in 1 week. In 1 week. All right. So what about cruise ships? This is a big cruise area, right? Where are the cruise ships coming from? Well, so far for the entire month, we've had 68 cruise ships. Why is this important? Well, this is another way of people coming down here. We're talking about investment opportunities, right? We're talking about where should I buy a condo for short-term and long-term investments, or buy a house, or where should I buy land? Where do I see it growing? Well, you need to follow the paper trail, right? And the paper trail is where are the tourists going and how are they getting here? Well, they're getting here through cruise ships as well. So in the week from the 16th to 26th of September, we had 14 cruise ships arrive in Cozumel. And these things are like what? How many rooms are in a cruise ship?
Oh, some of them, I don't know.
I don't even know.
Thousands. They're huge.
Yeah, it's like a floating hotel, right?
It's like a floating city.
Damn. Okay.
I think they have at least in between 4,000 and 8,000 people on these cruise
Really?
ships.
Okay.
They're enormous. When I go scuba diving over in Cozumel, how many people could fit on a cruise ship, Leah?
But you're right on.
Yeah, like between 4,000 and 8,000 people. They're huge.
Wow. Okay. So 14 cruise ships came that week. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's a lot at 4,000 per cruise ship. 6 went to Mahahual, right? So you can tell the popularity of the destinations right here. I mean, Cozumel, basically up here, the Riviera Maya. People are always talking about Mahahual, Bacalar, Mahahual. It used to be way back in the day a big destination for these cruise ships to start going to Mahahual, but it really died out a lot. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because if you've ever been to Dominican Republic near Santo Domingo, there's a part where there's like a cul-de-sac in the ocean. And unfortunately, the way the currents run, where the currents are going, they bring the trash through this cul-de-sac and it gathers up in this. It looks like basically a sea of garbage. It's terrible. I mean, it's really unfortunate. But it's not even their garbage. It's not even Santo Domingo. It's not Santo Domingo or Dominican Republic's garbage. It's actually the garbage from the world that just gets deposited there. Well, that same thing started happening in Mahahual, right? There's an area there where the beaches are just. I mean, they do clean them. They do go do work on there. There are let's clean the beach day and stuff like that, but it's not enough. It's constant. It's constant. So destination wise, Cozumel looks like the winner here on where people are wanting to go. And Cozumel is beautiful. If you've been to Cozumel, it's awesome. Cozumel is famous for snorkeling and also Ironman. We have the second largest reef in the world is here in Cozumel. It starts from Cozumel all the way down towards Belize, behind obviously the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. Positive side, there are not any great white sharks here. Where Nick is right now, there are great white sharks. I don't like great white sharks. I don't want to go scuba diving when there's a big giant fish that could eat me. but we do have bull sharks, which are great. Moving on. So total of 68 cruise ships came into Cozumel and Mahahual. They're all to this month so far. Now, I'm going to kind of go over this one faster. It's not super important, but it kind of tells us which cruise ships are coming and which ones, what cruise lines, right? So you have Voyagers, Carnival, Scarlet Lady. There's none coming on the Wednesday. This is literally the calendar of arrivals for these cruise ships to Mahahual. You look at
from September 25th to October 1st. So this week.
Correct. This week. And there's no arrivals on Wednesday. There's no arrivals on Saturday or Sunday or on Friday. But if you look at Cozumel, on the 25th, there aren't any, but then you got 3 on Tuesday, 3 on Wednesday, 2 on Thursday, 3 on Friday, 4 on Saturday, and 1 on Sunday. There's none on Sunday. So this is pure tourism right here. This is why, Cozumel, Playa del Carmen, Riviera Maya is a good destination to have a place, because people when they go to Cozumel, they cross. They take the ferry over to Playa and they do shopping on Fifth Avenue, and they go through guided tours. They go to Chichen Itza. They'll go to, which is going to be way different now. We have the train, huh? People will be able to go from Cozumel, come to Playa, go to the train station, and then go to Chichen Itza by train instead of driving out there. It's going to be such a great time saver, man. It's such a long drive to go to Chichen Itza from Playa. But they're going to see places to stay, and they're going to want places.
Let's talk about that real quick. So to drive, I've driven there. One, you have to take a tour bus, which I would imagine that the cruise lines partner up, so they just move everybody quickly. And it's about a 3.5 hour drive to there. By getting on the train, it's probably about 1 hour. So you get there, you shave off 4 hours of travel time by cutting 2 hours out of each drive. So you're there and back, and you can get on there, have food, drink, hang out, and then come right back.
Like, what's the most important, valuable commodity on the planet?
Is water a commodity?
No, time. Right? Yeah. Commodity, time, right? Time is the one thing that we want a bunch of and we can't buy any more of, right? So if I could go and look at a tourist destination and go and look at the Mayan ruins, Chichen Itza, and shave 2.5 hours of my life off of it and increase that travel time, or decrease the travel time and increase my pleasure, that's phenomenal. I mean, I don't have to sell the Mayan train anymore. I think the Mayan train's pretty much sold itself, but I'm still super pumped about it. So let's talk about flights. Let's talk about the airports. Let's talk about airplanes in total. We had a total of 1,612 flights leaving the airports here in this area. Okay, now so we have Cancun, Cozumel, and Chetumal. Soon we're going to have Tulum right here. It's going to be nice to have Tulum, having the flights coming in and outside of Tulum. These are the ones leaving from here, going somewhere else. Okay, salida. That's what salida means over here on the left. Now let's go to arrivals. So on arrivals, the week of 16th to the 22nd, we had a total of 1,622 flights arriving as well, right? They arrive, they leave. So arrivals. We had 675 flights coming into Cancun that are national. They're from Mexico, Mexican national or Mexican flights. And then we have almost 900 international flights landing in Cancun airport out of the 1,622. The rest were coming from Cozumel. In Cozumel, we had 15 nationals and 15 internationals, and we had 19 in the airport in Chetumal. Okay. Now, what does that transpire to? Let's see here. Hold on a second. Altogether, the movements in and out altogether was 3,234 flights in and out altogether, combined total. So where are the flights coming from? Where are our tourists coming from? Well, you had 9 flights from Canada that week. You had 36 flights from the United States that flew in that week, 25 from Mexico, 23 from Latin America. This would include Argentina, Chile, Brazil, all the countries down here. Okay. Oh, excuse me.
Or those are the connections?
These are where they're flying from. Connectivity, that like where they're coming from. Okay. Now, connectivity that area, vuelos internationals and nationals in Cancun. So this is basically reiterating the same thing. We had 25 destinations in Mexico, 36 cities from the United States. We had 9 cities in Canada and 2 countries, right? United States and Canada were the biggest ones for Cancun. Let me go past this real quick. I want to get down to some cool stuff real quick. That's Chetumal. I mean, Chetumal's pretty. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think it's not pretty. It's just really far away. So the train will change that. So how many rooms are available? Like, this is a cool stat. This is basically telling me how many hotel rooms are available in the Riviera Maya or Quintana Roo. Benito Juarez is, Cancun, Puerto Morelos. We know the names here, right? So you have Benito Juarez, Cancun, you have Puerto Morelos, Costa Mujeres, Isla Mujeres, Cozumel, Playa del Carmen, and Tulum to combined. That's Riviera Maya, Holbox, and Kuntunliquid, Jose Maria Morelos, Felipe Carrillo Puerto, Bacalar, Chetumal, Cojuntlich, and Costa Maya Mahahual. So total, there's 130,000 hotel rooms available in the week of 18th to the 20th, or the 8th, that week, okay, that we had. And this, people wonder how many hotel rooms are available altogether. And why do they want to know this? This gives us a good comparison when you want to see if there's an oversaturation of condominiums. If you take the amount of tourists that are coming into the airport in Cancun, if you take 130,000 rooms per week available, and you multiply times 52, gives you how many rooms per year available, right? And if you just simple numbers, we had 400,000 people flying to the airports, and we only have 130,000 rooms. Where are they staying? Where are they staying? All right, that's 270,000 people that are not staying in a hotel because there aren't enough rooms. So where are they going to stay? They're going to stay in Airbnbs. They're going to stay in rentals. They're going to stay in their own properties, in their own condos. They might be flying to Cancun and going to the, maybe staying in Valladolid, stuff like that. But this is a great graph to tell you, where we are as far as construction. People think there's too many condos. There really isn't. I know it sounds like there's a lot of them. I know it feels like, man, there's because we're releasing, I think it's like 16,000 or 14,000 units will be released into the inventory condominiums over the next 18 months. That's how many pre-constructions are happening right now. And people say, well, that's too many. It's going to be oversaturated. How am I going to make money? Well, here's your number right here. There's your number. 400,000 people are arriving, and they've got 130,000 hotels to stay in. Hotel rooms, I'm sorry, to stay in. That's it. So it's not like we're oversaturating at all whatsoever. So where are these hotel rooms concentrated? I'm sure everyone can figure that one out pretty simply, but it actually is a little bit of a surprise because Playa and Tulum have more hotel rooms available than Cancun. Check that out, right? So you've got a total of 45,644 hotel rooms. This is including small boutique hotels and also the big boys, the big brands, the Hyatts and stuff like that. Okay. So in Cancun, you got 45,000 rooms available, and in Playa, 45,644 rooms available, which is an amazing. Playa and Tulum combined, the two places combined. And then everybody else is right in the middle, right? Or below that, 10,000, 1,000. Holbox has almost 2,000 rooms, 1,500, 1,600 rooms. And then you have Chetumal and the rest below. This is a great statistic to have when you're trying to figure out where will more tourists be going? Where will I have more visibility? And where do I have a chance of getting a higher return? And what have we been singing? What have we been preaching? Playa del Carmen, Tulum, Puerto Morelos. Well, we've got the three right here, 7,000 in Puerto Morelos, 45,000 in Playa and Tulum. So this region is 52,000? 52,700 rooms available between Puerto Morelos, Playa del Carmen, and Tulum, which is literally where we've been pushing on most of our content on YouTube, Instagram, and Nick's book as well. Nick's book and the course talks about literally these three places in that book. So it's good to see these kind of numbers. And over here, you have the percentages, right, of the rooms based on these numbers here, but put in percentages, right? 35% of them are in Cancun and Playa del Carmen. So that 70% of all the rooms in the region are in these two areas, Playa del Carmen and Tulum, which is a super cool statistic to have. Now we're getting into everybody else, to the rest of us. How many active rental properties are available in the market right now in the vacation rental industry or vacation rental? I guess what's the word I'm looking for?
Market.
Is it market? I guess.
Short-term
sector. Okay, so the vacation rental sector. So there are 40,814 condos or houses studios, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, villas, oceanfront, beachfront, jungle front. Well, all those in between, there's 40,814 of them active right now for rent. The average, this is an average. I know Nick's going to jump up and say, no way. The average that they're showing is 1,117 pesos per night, which is about, what's that, 70? Do you have a calculator, Nick, by chance?
Yeah.
Divide that by 17. Just give us an
11,
average per night.
11, 17 divided by 17, 65, 70.
65.70. Hold on. I'm gonna look at something real quick that I don't think I went over. So 65.70 per night is the average as and staying in the Airbnbs, but I thought there would be a number for the hotels, the average cost per night in the hotels. Hold on, did it give it to me? That'd be a great number to have. No, it doesn't. Okay, I'm gonna have to ask that. All right, so $65-70 per person, or no, per place, per condo. Now, obviously, this is where Nick will probably jump in, but obviously this number, you can argue that it's skewed, or you could say that this is an average, right? So that means there's going to be some that are way higher than that, some that are way lower than that. But, using Nick's as an example, which, by the way, this sounds like I'm doing an advertisement for your book, but which in his book, he talks about how to find the secret to the algorithm in Airbnb and how to use that to your advantage to increase, I think, his average. And I think he even shared the screenshots. It's like 85% occupancy.
It's like 87 to 90% over the past year at an average nightly rate of $330. And yeah, I mean, I can touch on that 1,100 pesos a night. The thing is that the developers know there's no financing for a long time until we landed financing, right? And so what they've done is they have to make the purchases affordable to somebody, because it's easier to come up with $150,000 in cash than it is to come up with, $400,000, $500,000 in cash to buy a 3-bedroom villa, house, standalone house. And so the reason why that number is brought down to 1,100 pesos, in my experience, specifically in the Tulum market, where the majority of these Airbnbs are, as well as Playa, is because they've built something that's easily accessible. The barrier to entry is 150 grand in cash. And then when we look at who's traveling here, most people come in a group, right? At least 4 people. It's 2 couples, it's friends, it's bachelor parties, it's people that want to come on spring break, people that just want to come away, get away, or they have children. And so they need not just a 1-bedroom. And that's where the market is for making some money on your short-term rental. And the reason why this number is a little bit lower is because, well, you can't rent, there's a huge influx of 1-bedrooms pulling that average down.
No, bear in mind, this is last week, September, and this is low season numbers. This is
Well,
the
and
average
it's
for that week. For that week.
Okay. Yeah. And so, I mean, my unit rented last week, it is low season. I think I was renting my unit at $140 a night, right? So that's 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom. And so when we have low season, I forgot this is low season, and we still have 400,000.
But you're still 3 times above the average of everybody else.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous, bro. I mean, that in itself is a testament to the book that you got, dude, and the information you have to share. So, but yeah, it is low season, bro. It's the low season, and 400,000 people flew into town last week. It's crazy. Excuse me. Yep, it's okay. Thank you. I don't know who's calling me. Give me 1 second. Keep talking for a second, please.
Yeah. So since it is low season, I mean, at the bottom, you can see that this is coming from AirDNA. AirDNA basically takes all of those numbers and just, gives you the average of where it is. I don't know. This is in all of Quintana Roo. So since it is low season, there will be, a little bit lower monthly or nightly rate. The only thing I don't know is what was the occupancy, right?
I'm back.
I
I'm back.
I would be interested in knowing what the occupancy was. I guess we can go back to that
Yeah.
other screen.
For which one? I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. What'd you say?
So this is for all of Quintana Roo. So
Right. That's all I can tell. It's gonna split it out right here.
oh, okay.
So your vacation rentals for the week of the 22nd of September, okay, that week, this is where it's split up. Where are the 40,000 available units? In which cities are they in, or which towns are they in? Your bulk is in Cancun with 10,857. And your big one is in Playa del Carmen with 13,854 units available, more than in Tulum. Tulum has 9,473 units available with a 48% occupancy for that week, for that, not for the year. That's just talking about that, talking about last week, right? That week of September. So your biggest occupancy looks like, I think it was Playa del Carmen. No, Playa del Carmen is at 55%. Cancun is at 59%. So 59, Cancun was number one. Number two would be Playa, tied with Cozumel. You had all those cruise ships coming in there and people staying 1 or 2 nights on land. And then below that would be Puerto Morelos. But what's funny, dude, is check this out. You and I are constantly talking about Puerto Morelos. Whoops. Talking about Puerto Morelos, right? Here. We talk about Playa del Carmen. We talk a lot about Tulum. And those are the three that we talk about, the big three that we talk about. We don't talk very much about Mahahualis and Mujeres, Cozumel, stuff like that. And those are the top 5. You know, one being Cancun. This is 2, 3, 4. I mean, it's amazing. These are the destinations that we are promoting on being a good investment. And these were the highest occupancies were for that week, you know, for the week of the 22nd. But what else do you want to see on here? You've got occupancy, you've got active rentals. That's basically the same number as here. And then the variation, the stats aren't in there. But the tarifa promedio, we had that tarifa promedio, this right here is what the average is per night. But we got that right here before this on this previous one right here. Okay. So we still got room to go. We only had 40,000 units available. So this plus 130,000 in the hotel, that's 170,000 units for 400,000 people. Where are the rest of the people staying?
Yeah,
That's my question. Where else are they staying, dude?
they're looking for a villa. They're looking for a house that has a minimum of 3 bedrooms. I mean,
I'm sure there's got to be a big, let's say 5%. I think I'm being way generous. Are business people flying in to work and they're leaving the same, kind of like, because national flights are involved in there too, you know, but
Yeah.
Still that's a huge chunk of people that maybe they're staying in their own properties, brother's house, sister's house, cousin's house, you know, they're visiting relatives, friends and family, or they're just staying in their own personal, you know, place, but it can't be that many, right? So moving on. So week of 16th to the 22nd of September, you're going to be, this right here is basically saying where the advance, in other words, where are they traveling to, which we already had that number, right? The people that are coming down to the 76% of the people. We had that there already. I lost my train of thought here. Hold on. Let me get out of this real quick. Okay. So the hotel rooms are at 130,000. Condos are at 40,000. Total units available. We have 170,000 units for 400,000 tourists. There's your financial analysis. There's your logic on whether or not this place has been saturated or not with places to buy or places to basically put your condos up for rent. And you don't necessarily have to use Airbnb or booking, stuff like that. If you are good, you can actually go into, if you want to put a little more extra work into it, it does cost you more work, but it's not, maybe you won't lose as much in the taxes you could do into the expat groups in the locations that you want to buy your condos. You can go into Facebook and go in the expat groups and say, you know what, I have a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom condo that I have for rent. And here's my rental costs. And you could do a contract, and you could do, there's lots of ways to do this. You don't necessarily always have to use Airbnb. It's just Airbnb is it's not free, but it's a very good marketing tool that's going to allow you to put your condo in front of everybody's faces. And based on performance, if you do good and you have good pictures, the algorithm picks you up. Then you're going to be one of the first condos people see when they come in. Then you have an amazing place. If you have great murals, you have great furniture, and it looks amazing, it's super cool and very Instagrammable, quote unquote, then you're going to get more people to stay in your place, which is pretty much what Nick has figured out, right? Using his book. Or actually, I think in the book, it doesn't actually go into too much detail, but it gives you a glimpse into how to get that information through Nick's course and the combination of the book and through Nick, right? Is that right, Nick?
Yeah, the course goes, the book touches on it, and the course goes through like the actual how to. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. Let me stop sharing my screen real quick here.
Yeah,
There we
so
go.
I'm super excited that we went over that, because I mean, the other thing is what you said in the beginning is, as an investor, you really have to push the emotions to the side and look at the data and see what makes sense, right? And that's how I am, and everything that I do, I always look at the data. I mean, some people are here watching this because of advertising
Yep.
that we're running on Instagram, and I look at that data and I adjust it to what's working, and you know, keep improving it. And
Yep.
so when you look at these places, I'll keep saying it, is 3 bedrooms with the financing that we have available is
Yep.
going to make you a nice return, not just on the nightly cash flow or the monthly cash flow, however you want to look at it, but also the appreciation of the unit in itself. And
Absolutely.
where do you get the best appreciation? Now you go near the train. You
Yep.
follow where the people that are coming off these 68 monthly cruise ships are going, and find out where they're headed, right? I don't think that the people get off the ship and go and sleep in an Airbnb, but
No.
they're learning about the place. Now they're like, wow, this is awesome. There's a whole development right there, 5 minutes from the train. We got to come back, honey.
Yep.
We got to tell Mark about this place. Him and his wife were thinking about buying in here.
Yep.
They should come and stay in that spot.
Yep.
And I mean, it's mind blowing. There's 400,000 people in 1 week during low season,
Mm-hmm.
and there's only 170,000 rooms.
Yep.
I
There's
did
some
it.
math for you.
Yeah, like,
And not to talk all positive, right? I can give you, there's some negative sides to this, right? With the 400,000 tourists that are here and they're staying, the occupancies are higher in the hotels. And what's happening is the small businesses on Fifth Avenue are feeling it. Even though there's a bunch of traffic on Fifth Avenue, doesn't necessarily mean they're spending money. Right. So low season
mhm.
comes with a couple different factors. It's not just the occupancies that's lower, but also the financial power behind the tourists that are here during low season are a lot less than the ones that are here in high season. Usually low season is going to tailor towards people that can't afford to spend the extreme premium prices that are during high season for the cost to stay in that hotel. They're obviously running the risk of having more rainy days when they come here in low season, because between July and November is technically quote unquote hurricane season, where it rains, twice a week, right? So you come on vacation, you spend, $1,500, $2,000, and it rains 2 of those days when you come to the beach. It kind of puts a damper on your vacation plans, right? But what happens is that pricing structure that the hotels do, they have a lot more leeway, and they'll drop their prices that are normally, like, just perfect example is your condo. They'll drop their cost per person per night from 120, $250 per person per night. Some of the nicer places in Cancun or Playa del Carmen, per person, $250 per night. That's an all inclusive. They'll drop it down to $60. So it's $120 for 2 people for 7 nights. It's $800 to stay in a hotel. It comes with food, beverage, comes with, all your alcohol, all your food, everything you want for $800 for the week. And you add cheap flights into that, or inexpensive flights into that. And now you're looking at a vacation for $1,500 with flights, 2 people, 7 nights, 8 days, and it comes with all inclusive. that sounds like a great deal during low season, when that same exact trip will cost you $6,000 in high season, January, February, March, those months. So what happens is people that normally can't afford to travel in the high season, don't have extra money to be blowing. They come down here with their money they've saved to come enjoy vacation with their family. They can go down to Fifth Avenue, but they can't afford to go to the restaurants on Fifth Avenue. They can't afford to go to the shops and buy the extra stuff because they're coming down here on a tight budget, that's kind of what low season does. It's not necessarily just an occupancy, but it's also the financial power of the tourist that comes down here during low season that makes that difference. And right now, what they're doing in Playa, we have time, 5 minutes. What they're doing in Playa is the small businesses are hurting. These restaurants are hurting at night because of the hotels. They're not. It's not a battle, but it is in a way, right? So what we're trying to do is work with the small businesses and work with the hotels and try to get them to start promoting Fifth Avenue again, right? Instead of keeping them for yourself and keeping them hoarding these people for yourself that no one else can touch my customers and providing everything for them, maybe put some advertisements so we can start having some more shows on Fifth Avenue. We're going to start building. If you've been to Playa, you've been to Fifth Avenue, there's artists that go up and down Fifth Avenue and they play music or they do like cultural dancing, Mexican dancing, folklore dancing, stuff like that. And it's super cool, but they're doing it in front of restaurants. They're just moving along Fifth Avenue and asking for tips. So what we're going to do is we're going to build stages on Fifth Avenue. Every couple of blocks, a new stage will be built with lights and sound and everything. So these people can be dignified with a proper stage, a proper setting for them to actually do their shows, and they can still move down, but they'll be able to do it on these stages on Fifth Avenue. Then working with the hotels, advertising the Fifth Avenue folklore, the Fifth Avenue art show, Fifth Avenue festival, and start doing these weekly festivals on a repetitive basis to get these people out of the hotels onto Fifth Avenue, start spending and sharing that wealth, sharing the money, and helping the commerce of the small businesses as well as the hotels. The Airbnbs do that already, right? People come and stay at an Airbnb because they want to be part of the town. They want to do stuff locally, but people that are staying in the hotels don't necessarily leave the hotel because sometimes it's their first time or their second time and they don't feel safe, stuff like that. But there's a lot of cool stuff happening, a lot of cool stuff changing, a lot of money, Nick, a lot of money is being put into Quintana Roo by the Mexican government, a lot of money. This is the golden goose. This is the golden goose for Mexico for sure.
Cool. Well, this was a great episode. I enjoy this. I like this stuff.
Yep, stats are good.
So if anyone is watching this, feel free to comment below, reach out to Alberto and myself. I will put a link to anyone that wants to donate to this hotel here in Bahia de Los Angeles to help from the hurricane. I will put the link to my book so you can learn more, read more. And then throughout that whole thing, when you read the book, you can set up a meeting with us. And we got one thing that's coming, two things. We're going to start doing monthly events here. Well, I'm not there, but in Quintana Roo, as well as a Discord channel. So I'm going to go back and put some links into the Discord channel where you now can meet other investors. There's going to be some stipulations. We're going to keep it very organized so that you don't miss any of our content that comes from YouTube, the podcast, our Instagram news that we get, that something like this, like the presentation, people who we're working with and things like that. So the Discord channel will be coming out, I want to say like end of this week, beginning of next week.
Yeah, it should be done this week.
And so that way we can stay connected.
Yep.
You guys can learn more with us as we share it, as we get this information and go from there. So thank you so much. And we'll see you guys next week.
Nick, good luck. Have fun building stuff.
All right, cool. I will.